Zippers, Chapter 9. Hi, Yusuf. Meanwhile, Merrill was busy relaying all of the conversation he could recall to his new friend, Dennis Fairbanks. "Too much," Denny told Merrill over the phone. "Too much. I know you two were once close, and I suppose some of that old loyalty might bleed into your sister's present state, but Merrill, never hint to him in any way. He might have a right to our product. Neither in profits nor in credits. There's a lot riding on this if we keep things clear. Marie's condition will remain our top priority as long as we monitor her through the aid of our financial muscle, our stockholders, and the integrity that has maintained our status in the world all these years. Give your sister to us for the next 5 years, and I'll see to it she gets the attention she may need in case there are any kind of side effects, big or small, God forbid." "I know I goofed up. I'm so sorry, Denny." "Bygones. Right now we need to focus on a legal strategy to get our work back. We can't go public just yet until we do. You know and I know Jacob Phelps was behind that theft. I've sent letters to our corporate office in Seattle where a legal team is being put together. As far as compensation goes, your first paycheck should be as early as Christmas." "Marie's condition is the main gift I'm already grateful for," said Merrill. "Well, you can thank your God for that, Merrill. God and Annex Systems." Denny gave a few more words of caution to Merrill, telling him to speak to no one, especially Jacob or Pepper, of their plans to drag Jacob into court. Similarly, he was to keep hushed about anything concerning his sister or the Annex's forthcoming change in focus and leadership. Annex Systems was going to become the pioneer mecca for speech disability-related answers and healings. Less aspirin, sleeping aids, more big-time attractions. The kind of things people would be willing to spend exorbitant price tags for. Merrill assured Denny he was in compliance all the way. He'd avoid Jacob like the plague. There really could only be one winner in this scenario for his sister, and the Annex was it. In the meantime, Denny was suffering from some stress-related dizzy spells and could not be at the office for a few days due to a few routine doctor checkups. "Avoid Jacob." I got it. That night, Jacob crawled under the quilted covers of his queen-size bed. Nights were getting chillier and autumn was finally being felt. He reached for the long cat toy with the plastic handle and 7 multicolored suede strands of leather on the tip. Zippers was spying the movement from the door. His big green eyes quickly turned black with full pupils as Zippers focused on the flipping filaments. He pounced up onto the bed to chase the elusive darting toy as Jacob pulled it this way and that way, always just out of reach, once in a while allowing Zippers to grab hold so he could feel like a successful hunter and keep the game interesting. Every now and then, Jacob would jerk the wand into the air, causing Zippers to zip several inches above the bed. His funny white paws flared. Sometimes he'd land at the foot of the bed. Sometimes he'd land right on Jacob's chest. Each time, Jacob chuckled at his healthy leukemia cat's antics. When Zippers finally had enough, and a world-weary Jacob was ready to turn off his nightstand lamp, the light furred body would turn from Jacob, curl into a curve, begin washing himself, and then lay his head between his outstretched arms. A cat's sigh often accompanied. This was the signal playtime was over and Zippers was tuckered out. It was then time to sleep. The light was out, and Jacob, too, got into a comfortable position in a similar C-fold of his legs, his knees bent while on his side. "That is so much fun! So much fun!" Jacob's entire body froze stiff. His eyes shot open to the pitch blackness of his room. He hadn't felt this terrified since he was a kid, convinced the boogeyman was hiding in his closet. What in the name of heaven was that? Was someone in his room? Under the bed? In his closet? Had the boogeyman returned to prove himself finally? Was there a ghost in the apartment? Could the voice have been imagined? Was he in a half-dream state, perhaps? After a few moments, still quite certain he was fully awake, he moved his limbs and removed the blankets from his body. He flipped the switch to his nightstand, and slowly he climbed out of bed. With uneasy trepidation, he stepped towards his closet. He pushed back each shirt, coat, and pair of slacks out of the way until he was certain no one was there. He bent his knees at the foot of his bed. Where his cat looked down on him with a cocked head of curiosity. He looked underneath his bed, but all he saw was a stray sock and a few random cat toys. He then walked to the wall, where he sometimes heard his neighbors talking. If the voices got too loud, no, silence. And even if he would have heard their voices, they were older people, and their sounds were always muffled. This was a much younger man's voice, and it was clear as a bell. He sat down, his legs outstretched as he petted Zipper's ears, kneading them. "Did you hear that, fella?" he asked, looking into Zipper's squinting eyes. It's gotta be the stress of everything. Gotta be. Too much in 1 week, he thought. He got up and headed for the bathroom medicine cabinet. He filled a Dixie cup with water and popped in 2 Advil PMs. Shuffled back to his bed, slid back under the covers, and he killed the light. He heard his cat sigh deeply, his body moving between his toes. Very strange, he whispered, waiting for the sleeping pills to take effect. "Yes, you are," came the same voice. Jacob held his breath, and before he had a chance to acknowledge the ghost, slowly began falling down the dark, forgetful tunnel of Advil. He slept like a rock.
Everything indicates no.
The alarm sounded at 5:30 a.m. like it always did, for Jacob enjoyed getting up early. It was a quiet, peaceful way to start the day. Zippers was curled up by his left armpit, and in tandem they each stretched their arms and they each yawned. Zippers jumped off the bed immediately for the ritual. Jacob would French press his coffee from the microwave water while he fixed a small bowl of wet canned food for Zippers. Zippers was a fussy eater, and even with the best grain-free food, he'd often leave too much, letting the afternoon dry it up. So Jacob learned to make his portions small. If he ate it quickly, he'd give him a little extra. Jacob recalled bedtime. Was that a peculiar night or what, Zippers, as he handed his cat his bowl? Was all he heard in return. Your balls drop or something? Jacob asked with a smile, thinking that his cat's sounded odd and deeper than his normal perts. Zippers responded again, munching the meal of chicken and sweet potato. I think you were just getting a wee bit paranoid. Jacob's heart, mind, and voice stopped. He was watching his cat from above, could not see his lips, but noticed his head bob with the rhythm of the words. That's right, Jacob. Not only can I understand every word you say, I can articulate a response now, for some reason. Zippers turned, looked up to face his friend. Pretty weird. I'm as surprised as you look right now, but you should know, I could understand you for some years. The only part I'm equally stumped on is my ability to really communicate with you. When I realized I could speak your dialect last night, I thought to myself, you'd better break it to him in small bites, Zippy, or he might run away. Zip, you're talking to me? Yeah. And last night I told you I had fun. And it was fun last night. I love that damn thing with the tassels. Jacob was feeling weak. He had to sit down, so he sat down right next to where he was standing in the middle of the kitchen floor next to Zippers. You said it was fun? That was you? I'm talking to you right now, aren't I? Yeah. And he sounds sort of like a 15-year-old after his voice just changed. Well, I am 5. That'd be about 14 in your years, I guess. Jacob's head was trapped between his outstretched hands, his elbows on his knees, just staring at his talking cat. His talking cat. Now he was watching Zipper's little lips move as he enunciated every syllable the best he could in the English language with relative ease. And you've said you've understood every word I've said? Of course. We all pretty much do. Your ex-girlfriend's companion, who was she? Chloe? She understands everything too. I'm sure she knows you'll never see hiding her hair from you again, or me, so you can stop with all that silly Zipper says hello routine from now on. Jacob began mouthing the words, Zippers says hello. Yeah, that's the one. We're pretty good at reading lips, too. It's one reason a lot of us in the streets stay away from a lot of you people. It's not only intuition or instinct. We can see what you're saying a block away. Could you just give me a minute of silence, Zippers? I need to think. Sure thing. A minute passed. I could meow if that would help. No. That would seem pretty trite right now. I still love you, you know. Zippers walked a few steps over to Jacob, who was still hunched over now, gnawing on the right kneecap through his jeans. Zippers rubbed his head against his shin, purring. Jacob lifted his left hand and rubbed Zippers' cold ears until they began warming up like he always did when Zippers got close and it was chilly. Zippers continued purring and sat by his side. It must be the formula. I was waiting for you to figure that out, Jacob. You drank some when my friend and her cousin were here. I thought it was milk. You know how I love organic milk. I knew you loved milk. I didn't know the particulars. Well, now you do. Organic tastes better. Jacob shifted his thoughts to the formula again. Whatever unlocks or repairs tissues in the brain for autism must unlock cognitive abilities for communication, too, no matter the species. Not cognitive, my friend. We're already aware. Dogs, cats, dolphins, apes. What I think your elixir must do for me is unlock my speech abilities. My mouth against my tongue against the sides of my mouth, my trachea moving next to my larynx, all these things just loosening up, cooperating for something the gods must have wanted at some point, Jacob. I was cognitive the day I figured out what the litter box was for. Oh, and by the way, that dubbing of litter box, it's confusing. When we have kittens, we have litters, don't we? You don't want us to have our babies in boxes we shit in, do you? Huh, you got a point there. Jacob looked intently into his friend's sparkling eyes. So all this time, all these 5 years, I've been talking down to you. Not necessarily. I mean, sure, we do get tired of the questions. Do you want to eat? Should we go to bed now? And so forth. But that YouTube video about how many words we know? Total bullshit, Jacob. If we've been hanging around a few years, we've been soaking it all in. And yeah, I agree with you. Trump is going to get us all nuked. Jacob really wanted to laugh. A good one to acknowledge his cat's sense of humor. But he was too freaked out to be able to muster more than a brief chuckle. Why aren't you more unnerved, Zippers? I'm really going nuts over all of this. It's too much for me to take in. Zippers placed his paw on his master's hand. Jacob, do you have any idea what it's like to be able to talk to you, knowing what I know? Seeing what I see? Jacob remembered from his church days that old scripture, all of creation groans, waiting for their day of salvation. He petted Zipper's paw. A bit like severe autism, maybe. Maybe so. Think about it. If you were being fed the same fisherman's catch for too many days in a row, and you had no way of asking the chef for a let-up in pace, say for some nice grain-free liver with chicken with maybe a simple side of catnip or parsley, wouldn't you just be thanking the heavens you were able to express yourself better than varying degrees of meow? So you're really happy about all of this? Oh, happy? I'm overjoyed, mate. Did you know, Jacob, I'm this far from taking a shit under your bed? The litter box is that overdue for a raking? Oh, crap. Let me take care of it. See what I mean? When Jacob returned from the bathroom, Zippers was sitting on the pillow Jacob put by the kitchen window because Zippers loved to look outside so much, to breathe the fresh air when the weather allowed for the open screen. Yoo-hoo! Here, birdie, birdie, birdie! He began to whisper to some sparrows that he spotted. They looked his way and took off. I don't think that's such a good idea, Zippy, Jacob cautioned. What? It's what cats do. We can't help it. It's like you and internet porn. No, I mean, I'm guessing you probably know all the stuff that's going down with the company that fired me. The one which stole my formula you're benefiting from. I mean, you're telling me you've been aware of everything? Conversations I've had with people and everything? Oh, yeah, of course. Probably not a good idea for your cat to be shouting out for the neighbors to hear right now. Probably not. Okay. Zippers jumped off the counter and onto the floor again. Your litter box, it's all nice and fresh right now. Oh, good, because I have to release some pee. See ya. And off Zippers trotted, gleefully humming to himself a melody that sounded familiar until Jacob figured out it was the theme to the Pink Panther. They were watching on Netflix one not a week ago. Must have loved the titles, was all Jacob could figure. End of chapter 9.